What's going on, gamers? Hopefully, y'all have had a good weekend. I know I have. Definitely last night, didn't even get home till almost 3 in the morning. Yeah, it was pretty crazy up in there. Uh, Super intense. I loved it though. Had a good time. This video is going to be about how ever since PSSR 2 came out, not PS5 Pro because it didn't get to the potential that it is like right now, but ever since PSSR 2 came out, Xbox has just become irrelevant in comparisons and in general when it comes to topics. And then when you want to look for certain comparisons, it's not just me saying this, but I'm saying in general. When you want to look for comparisons or just look for that feed you used to have back then, nobody wants to cover it. Like, just talk about the recent game Pragmata. We're gonna go to a post where Digital Foundry said too. We're getting low viewership. People are not interested. Pragmata PS5 versus PS5 Pro graphics and frame rate comparison. I just said Pragmata PS5 Pro versus, right, just to see what would give me the headlines, what algorithms would pop up, and then Pragmata PS5 versus PS5 Pro graphics comparisons again, and then gaming mode PS5 Pro versus PS5, PS5 Pro versus PS5 versus PC. When you just look at like Pragmata, right? That's older stuff that we saw from L's channel. He'll do it, yeah, 2 months ago. And then it's the same thing here again. PSSR, PSSR2, Pragmata, PS5 Pro versus PC. You're going to see like what people want to look at one day ago. PS5 Pro gameplay here. But Switch 2, which we saw that video with Series S, that one was pretty good. But the interesting thing here is that nobody's interested in seeing the Xbox version. Because somebody had said what they said before, that that's basically the PS5 version. And all the review copies mostly go to PlayStation. Digital Foundry said that too, like, we're not getting the review copies. We're not going to go out of our way to buy that version when the PlayStation 5 version is pretty much that version. Though the Series X, math-wise, should look better than the base PlayStation 5, but I think because of the technology being so close, and the difference between also something to do with the operating systems, it never really showed like that. There are some games where it's like, okay, it looks like it you could see it there, but it didn't happen too often. Definitely at the beginning of the generation, because that wasn't going to happen with the market domination Sony had. They're going to favor that PS4 Pro, PS4 jump to PS5. It just makes more sense and it's an easier transition, whereas Xbox had like full RDNA too. And they would have to do that in Series S, and developers obviously were complaining about that. They also weren't getting the profit they wanted from the sales on Xbox, so they prioritized PlayStation and would give Xbox that. And if you wanted to fix it, I guess Microsoft would have to get involved. But getting to the PS5 Pro, PSSR 2, ever since it dropped, it just literally left it in the dust. The topics have been so big on that it pretty much went to PS5 Pro versus PC. Right? We've talked about this before, but it's a thing that still has to be brought up because it's like Pragmata is giving you the idea again that nobody cares about the Xbox version. And it's not console, no, it's more like you're not supporting the game either. So there's not a lot of people to really like cover it in that sense, and nobody wants to cover Xbox content because they kind of feel like their viewership tanks. If we go over to that post by Digital Foundry, I don't know if you guys remember this, not too long ago, less than a month ago, Digital Foundry responds to criticism why they don't cover Xbox versus PlayStation comparisons like they used to. They cite several reasons: lack of review codes, time, PS5 Pro is usually the best version, low viewership for Xbox content. And then they were saying, like we were saying before, you know, when it comes to thinking about what would be the point of doing it, for me, it would to show you what's the difference between PlayStation 5 Pro, PSSR 2, and the Xbox Series X now in general, how much it is ahead. But they're saying there's no point of even doing that, because if it looks the same as the base PlayStation 5, what is the point? I can just do PS5 to PS5 Pro, because most people are looking in that spectrum in the gaming world if you're not in a Nintendo spectrum. Xbox is going to PC now, so when it comes to console coverage, and a lot of people know that now, it seems like it's covered even less. And I don't think of the Helix as an Xbox console. I think of that as a PC with hybrid Xbox backwards compatibility features. It's not going to go on the market and be sold as a console. So like when you think of Xbox as a console, I think as more time passes, it becomes less and less relevant to even think about it as a console now, because that's not the future of it anyways. unless Microsoft wants to kind of still push the Series X and S out after they launch the Helix and still kind of get people to focus on that, which I mean, they could, but nobody's buying it. So it doesn't have any relevancy, doesn't have any waves, doesn't have anything to be like, let's look at the Xbox version, unless you kind of want to see the PSSR 2 smoke it. But to save, I guess you could say, embarrassment on that, you would need to just watch the PS5, the PS5 Pro, because you're trying to just see the difference now between something that's already similar. Personally, I like seeing the comparisons and it being included so that we can cover it, because it used to be where you thought there wouldn't be that much of a difference before PSSR 2 dropped. A lot of people were attacking the PS5 Pro. Not only on top of that, they were still trying to say the Series X was somehow relevant, but it's like, no, but it's less relevant now more than ever. And the reason why is because PSSR 2 does not only run laps around you, they're doing that with your exclusives. You need them to sell those exclusives, and you're not getting their games only on PlayStation. Meaning that if you try to make Helix seem like it was going to come into the market and get PlayStation 5 exclusives and PS6 exclusives because you're going to have Steam, well, Sony shut that down. So in that sense, this is where you feel like, yeah, Xbox is irrelevant in that sort of sense. Game Pass, I can get that on PC. All your games I can play better in the console world. If we're talking only console to console right now, and you are a console gamer, and you were like, oh, I got Game Pass, but it's like, yeah, but I have your games at 60 frames per second with ray tracing features. You can't do that. We saw what happened with Resident Evil Requiem. You couldn't do it. We're seeing what's happening with Pragmata. It's a huge difference. We're seeing what happened with Crimson Desert, right? Ray tracing high 60 frames per second and looking significantly better in balance. I was like, damn. We're seeing what's happening on Cyberpunk, doing things that you just don't have. It makes it to where it's like, yeah, you're kind of irrelevant now because they're like, oh, I don't even want to see no Xbox anymore. For what? Because I already saw PlayStation 5 versus Xbox Cyberpunk. So we already know what that is. What's the point of covering that again? Unless, like I said, you want to see PSSR 2 embarrass it if you want to look at it in that perspective. Otherwise, you're pretty much seeing what you see. PS5 Pro versus PC. That's a thing now. And that's going to be more and more relevant as the future comes. You want to know why? Because it's going to be PS5 Pro, PSSR 2 versus PC GTA in the fall, right? And then it's going to be PS6, PSSR 3 versus maxed out PCs. It's going to get to the point to where when PS6 drops, it's going to smoke like 87% of PCs instantly, because you're not going to have a build that has a 5090 on it, right? Most people can't afford that. So in the future, we already see it. It's here right now. Xbox drops off. We can include Helix if you want, but it's a PC. It's not going to be like it's a console that's selling independently. And I think this is something that people are not really realizing, probably in that spectrum, where they feel like the Helix is going to be something to get in that comparison as if like it's some individual console, but it's not though. It's just going to be a fixed PC model. Steam Machine is at least standing on its own from Valve as something that's somewhat individual in its own ecosystem. Whereas like the Helix is not really that, and it doesn't have an exclusive ecosystem. Steam is an exclusive ecosystem. Like the Steam Machine will have that, though it's not going to be that powerful. So, you know, it's still going to be interesting to see it get into comparison. So you can have some videos in the future that are going to be like PS5 versus PS5 Pro versus Switch 2 versus Steam Machine versus PC, right? Where it's like, okay. And you have to say PC because you could actually change around the builds. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the Helix, it's like, yeah, I understand that you're going to have probably multiple OEM models, but are you really an Xbox console? No, you're a PC. But Steam is like Valve's. It's exclusive. You know what I mean? Steam Machine is something that's made where it's like when it comes onto the market, it's like this is part of my ecosystem and I can still have exclusives. If I drop Half-Life 3, that's my game. If I drop Portal 3, that's my game. They have some shooter around the corner, but I mean, Dota's my game. You know, I've never put that anywhere else. Counter-Strike is mine. If I make Counter-Strike 3 or 4, you know what I mean? That's mine. If I make like some orange box off of Half-Life and make some mods to the side, if I work on Left 4 Dead 3, the idea is that it has an exclusive system as an identity. Whereas like the Helix is like, I just want to do this because I have to blend in here on PC and I need Steam. Otherwise, I'm coming in with just Xbox only on PC, and I'm not giving you the option to go to where most people go in the PC world, and that's Steam. So you need Steam. You see, it's like you need that identity, and you need PlayStation for publishing, Nintendo for publishing, and Steam for publishing. But when it comes to relevancy, it seems like it's hard to see Xbox be relevant anymore, unless you're going to come as a strong publisher, which I hope you do, because why would I not want that? But this is something that I kind of wanted to cover, because it's like, yeah, you know what? Pragmata once again proves that nobody cares about Xbox comparisons. I want them up there, because why not, right? L will be the only guy that kind of does it. Like, everybody else just kind of ignores it, and they just do PS5 to PS5 Pro instead. And you guys know what I'm talking about. This is exactly what's happening. So let me know what you think about that. Leave a comment down below. Are you the type that would like to see Series X, PS5 Pro comparisons, just so you can see that difference a lot? Because before, it was like, I can't tell that much of a difference, but people love that farm in a certain sense. Now, when there's a huge difference, people are just like, let's go to PC now. That's what the medium is doing. I'm not talking about me just subjectively speaking here, though I love seeing that, closing the gap on PC and saying this is how much money you're saving now, because this seems to be the new game and a new discussion, where it's like Xbox just kind of disappears off of that comparison chart, and somebody has to include it, or it's like, you know, what's going on? Hey, I'm just saying, this is not console war, and this is literally what is happening, and we're getting another update with the next big game that popped up. Pragmata. Let's see what's going to happen with some other games when they pop up. Where people want to do that, I think they should, because it'll show you the difference too on what are people interested in and where the viewerships work. Yeah. So leave a comment down below, y'all. Peace out. Keep gaming, no matter what platform you're on. Man, what a day last night. Man, we went all in. Later, y'all.